Hey everybody, in this video I'm going to talk about two players who have recently returned to the ice for the first time since training camp opened up, and that is Max Domi, who came back just a few days ago, and Brett Kulak, who returned to the ice yesterday and then told the media that he was the player that had tested positive for COVID. He's fully recovered, obviously, or he wouldn't be back on the ice, and he's ready to go. Don't forget, he's an athlete. I'm sure he didn't get all that sick, which is the reason why he's able to join the team right away after testing negative. So I imagine that means he's had 2 or 3 negative tests over the last 4 to 6 days and should be perfectly well and ready to go. So the questions are very simply this: where does Brett Kulak slot in, and what is the best place for him? And same with Domi, where does he slot in and what is the best place for him? Domi has had a few days to skate. He's been wearing the pastel blue uniform, which I imagine Kulak is wearing right now, and he's been skating on a line, the 5th line, centering Alex Belzile and Laurent Dauphin. I think then he moved up. That's true. He then moved up. I don't know if it was just yesterday or the day before. He moved up into the 4th line center, where Jake Evans was skating, and he was centering, I want to say, Dale Weiss and Jordan Wheel. So I think that's how it worked out. So I don't think he stays there, obviously. 4th line center is not going to be the position for Max Domi to best use his talents, obviously. So he's going to move up. I don't think he moves up into the 1st or 2nd line. He's going to move up into the 3rd line. Does he center the 3rd line, or does he move to the wing? That's the question. And for Brett Kulak, where does he slot in? I do believe he'll slot in right away at the third pairing. But does he stay at the 3rd pairing? And is the 3rd pairing the place for him, or the 2nd pairing? Because he did play with Jeff Petrie during the season, and I have a few stats, just a couple of stats about that, and we're going to take a look at that. So, like I said, Brett Kulak was out on the ice for the first time yesterday, and what was the question I had up here? I said, I've got Brett Kulak is on the ice first time. He had COVID. Where does he slot in? So he told the media that he had COVID, and he's fully recovered and ready to go. So where does he slot in, and will he be ready for August 1st? Because don't forget, he has not participated. I don't know how much skating he did. I don't know about his Phase 2 activity. I don't believe he was in Montreal for that, and so I have no idea what kind of shape he's in or anything like that. That's going to be very important, because right now, he came in yesterday. It gives him like 4 days till the exhibition game against Toronto, and 6 days until, I believe, 6 days until the start of the, or 6 or 7 days. So he doesn't have a lot of time to get into shape, and they don't have a lot of time to decide where to use him. So, during the season, Kulak and Petrie played 543 minutes together, and that was as a pairing. They had the lowest expected goals per 60 minutes at 1.93. The second lowest to them, I believe, was Mete and Sherratt, or maybe Kulak and Sherratt, who played 433 minutes less. So they played, what did I say, 500? So it was only 110 minutes together, and they had a 1.97, which was good, but they didn't play very much time together. So I don't know if it's a useful stat that way. But Kulak and Petrie, once Brett Kulak got his feet under him basically and started playing better, logged some really good minutes, and it was a good pairing. And if I'm correct, they did the same thing the year before. So Petrie and Kulak seemed like, to me, a natural pairing. When I did the video, I believe it was not yesterday, the day before. No, yesterday, about the lineup. And I said there, Mete and Kulak will be either 2nd or 3rd pairing, depending on how it goes for the camp. And I also, I think I knew at that time that Kulak was out there on the ice finally. But I don't expect him to take 2nd pairing right away. I really don't. Probably not in the exhibition game. I can't see it being on the 2nd pairing, even in the exhibition game, only 4 days to skate and all that. And maybe the first game against Pittsburgh, first 2, he might not be as well. But I think with the stats that Petrie and Kulak have had together, and I can say that Mete and Petrie have had those same kind of successes together, I think that's where he actually he slots in. I think once he's in full game shape, I think we're going to see Kulak raise up to the second pairing, and Mete slot down, which kind of leaves that right side on the third pairing is pretty much the only open slot there. Because listen, let's face it, it's playoff action, and unproven guys, as you're going to use as few unproven guys as you can. Kulak's had plenty of. Kulak's a good defenseman. He has times when he's not playing well, and there's times when he plays really well. So I hope that's the guy that we're going to see. I don't know if he's a slow starter or not. He was this season. He had a slow start, but he got his game going, and I know the last 30-odd games or so, he played really well with Petrie. So I'm kind of expecting that that's where we're going to see him. We're going to see him on the second pairing. I don't know when to expect it, except that I don't expect it in the exhibition game. So I said, I think yesterday's video, I said the lineup we're going to see in the exhibition game, those are the players that are going to be playing. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's where they're all slotting in exactly, and by that I really mean Mete and Kulak, and I think KK and Domi. You might not see the exact spot in the exhibition game, but they'll be there on their lines, I believe. I really believe that lineup that you're going to see on Tuesday are the players that they are going to be playing against Pittsburgh, unless someone gets injured. I don't see a change there. It's not like Montreal has 5 guys in the press booth that can play on top lines in any other team. It's not like that. There was a time when Montreal was like that, not right now. So we'll move on now to Domi, because I think we're established. I think Kulak will be second pairing defenseman with Jeff Petrie once he's in game shape. Max Domi is a more difficult question because does he play at wing or does he play the center? So for me, I say this. KK, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, is a future center star here in Montreal. That's my opinion. I believe that. It might not be this year. He had a horrible season. Injuries and all that kind of stuff. So it might not be this year, obviously, but he's got a bit of a second life here. And apparently he's looked really good in camp. His skating is that much better, and it's just his hockey game is that much better, back to looking like the future star that we all hoped to have when he was drafted. Max Domi, we know, had a really hot year his first season here in Montreal with 28 goals and 44 assists for 72 points. But that was a big drop-off in the second season where I don't remember there was a time with injuries. He might have missed a game or two, but I don't think he did that. He played a lot of games. But his production wasn't the same. It wasn't the same player. On a lot of nights, every night. It wasn't that same. That same Max Domi enthusiasm and all that. It wasn't there every night this season, and his numbers dropped off where he had only 44 points in the 71 games he played. I do believe he had 71 games, which means he did not miss a game. So where does he slot in? Because I know Max Domi would like to play center here in Montreal, but let's face it, if you have Danault, Suzuki, and KK, a perfectly healthy KK, and a KK who's ready for the NHL, there's no spot in the lineup for Domi at center. I think that's obvious, and I think that's going to be happening really soon. If it's not already, I said the other day, maybe last week or something, that it's possible that KK might not go back to the AHL. He may be ready. He may come in here and prove that he is ready to take that third-line center spot right now and move his way up as he earns it. So where do we slot Max Domi? This is the problem. And I don't think there's an answer. There won't be an answer really until we find out what they're going to do. But Claude Julien has said that everybody kind of expects when Domi came back that he would right away slot into the third line center and KK would move out or off that line completely even. And Julien said that just because Max Domi is coming back does not mean that KK would be the guy moving off of that line to allow Max Domi in. He didn't say that it would be that KK would keep the center position, but he wouldn't move off the line. So leaves the open question, is he going to play center or wing, or is Domi going to play center, or is he going to play wing? Remember, Domi was a left wing in his first 3 years in Arizona. So left wing is, you could say, his natural position. And he does seem to, I'll talk about it here, he does seem to do a lot. He gets a lot of his stuff done on the left. He breaks down the he on breakaways or on breakouts. He a lot of times he's down the left or the left, sort of the left side of center, and he seems to do a lot of his work there. Let me read what I wrote. Domi likes to do a lot of his work from the left of center position, skating down the left side or left side entries and shooting at the net from the left side. Last season, anyway, he had a lot of his shots from in the offensive zone coming from somewhere off on the left side. Yet his goal scoring came more from the slot area and really in close to the net on either side of the faceoff circle. So that means either side, left or right, there was no particularly dominant way that he scored, but he seemed to take a lot of his offense and entries and rushing down off on the left side. So that's his natural position, so it's not a surprise. This year, let me see, I had something written for this year. This year wasn't as much. He didn't do as much off of the they said off of the left wall. So he didn't have a lot of his offenses or the shots coming in and all that. He didn't have so much of it there, but he had hot spots this season before where he was shooting from, and he was still shooting a lot in those hot spots, and his offense was still coming from in close, in the slot, and on either side. Although I think this year his offense came a little bit, his goals came a little bit more from the left side. But you would probably still say that Max Domi is probably better suited at the center position here. Yet you have KK, who is going to be a center, and I say this, if KK is ready to play in the NHL, playing him at wing is useless if he's going to be a center. If he's ready for the NHL, he played 1 year at center on that third line. Playing him on the wing, to me, is just useless, and it means moving him back. And I don't understand that, and I don't think they will do that. So KK, if he's ready, if he's not going back to the AHL, then he's ready. He's playing center. That means there's no room for Domi at center. So there was a really interesting way to play it that I thought might actually make a lot of sense. So I guess it's basically, I'm not going to read this, but I think it's basically what you're doing. You're starting KK at the center position, taking the face-offs. And once you're getting down to the offensive zone, because, listen, Domi wants to break in on the left side. He wants to do a lot of his work on zone entries and stuff on the left side. So leave him the left. I say let him be the left wing. And maybe once you get into the offensive zone, you have Domi sort of start to shift over and playing more of a center position with KK shifting to the right, where he can take advantage of that shot he's been working on, that one-timer off the right wall. Because remember, he's a left-handed shot. He stands on the right wall, and he's taking one-timers and he's firing into it. A lot harder when you're a right-hand shot to get a one-timer that you can line up, because you can't really. You have to take it from in the corners. So if he's got a left-handed shot, he's not going to be on the left wall. To take a one-timer, he's going to be on the right. So that means whoever you have playing on the right side has to shift to the left. And if they're playing Lehkonen, then it seems like Lehkonen has been playing on the third line. And at some point, he had been playing the right side on the third in practice on the third line. So he can then shift over to the left. It sounds chaotic. It sounds like they could get caught a little bit and maybe give up an odd man rush. This could happen. But maybe this kind of chaos can keep... and I use the term, if you've seen the article, it's based on an article, just this confusion. It causes a bit of kind of confusion, maybe keeps the Penguins off balance, and it allows them to get some offense. And remember, Penguins have Crosby and Malkin as their two centers, right? That means Danault and Suzuki are going to they have their jobs, what is the word I'm looking for? They have their work cut out for them in trying to neutralize Crosby and Malkin. If they can neutralize Crosby and Malkin, so you're not getting a lot of offense from Pittsburgh there, maybe we're not producing a lot of offense there. That third line is going to be really important. KK, Domi, and whoever's player, I think it's going to be Lehkonen, or Lehkonen and Byron on the right. They're going to be really important in getting some offense out. So maybe by having this kind of confusion of how they're moving around in the offensive zone, it can allow them to get a little bit of offense, and that can swing the tide. So if you're someone who wants them to win, which me as a fan, I want them to win. I want this experience for the players. it's invaluable if they can get some experience. Even if they don't win the cup, but they go, maybe they win a couple rounds. Invaluable experience. But in my head, that was my heart speaking. In my head, I want them to get that better pick. But that doesn't matter. They're not looking at that. So what I think isn't going to matter. They're going to be trying their best to win. So I think that third line could be really key into where a lot of the offense is driven from, against the Penguins. Now, I'm not saying this is the same. It's going to be the same approach for every matchup that they have, but definitely against the Penguins with those two strong centers, like super strong centers, in Crosby and Malkin. Danault and Suzuki, sorry, are going to have their work cut out for them. They're going to be busy, and it's not going to be as easy for them to produce a little offense against those guys. So I really believe that the third line is where the offense, that key offense that's really going to be needed if they want to win, is going to come from in this series. Okay, so I probably went on too long about that, but that's my answer. I think that Domi slots in on the wing, on the left side. I think with Lehkonen and KK in the center, and I think Kulak will end up in that second pairing with Petrie. So, I don't know, it's a longer video than I wanted to do. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up if you liked it. Head down there to the comment section. Leave me a comment about any of the stuff I just said. Whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it, let me know why you wouldn't agree with it. Let me know what you agree with in the comment section. I appreciate that. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and ring that notifications bell. That's going to get you your daily fix of Bleu, Blanc, Rouge right here at Talkin' Habs. So remember, we are just 2 days away, 3 days away from the first exhibition game. The only exhibition game against Toronto. I'll be doing a preview for that and hopefully live streaming on during the first period if I can get the game, and we'll see where we go from there. So thanks for watching, everybody. Please be safe out there, and peace out, y'all. See you next video. Bye-bye.